Hey everyone, Eric Rutherford here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So a few months ago, I had an idea that I wanted to start a conversation. I wanted to start a conversation to hear about other people's stories that were unlike my own, and where we would dive deep and talk about everything from politics to religion to sexual identity to attraction to the journey that we're all on, the journey that shapes us all. So I hope you join me as we talk about stories and we talk with each other and we learn a little bit more how, as much as we're different, we're also the same. Jake.
Yes.
One, thank you.
No, thank
taking
you.
the time. I know you're very busy and you just got back.
Yes.
I heard the wedding was amazing.
It was amazing.
It looked amazing.
Yes, it was. It was incredible. I was singing with the Kooks, so.
Which again, yeah. I mean, how cool is that? It's not bad. Part of the reason I wanted to talk with you, one, besides being a friend,
yes,
being a fan, is the idea of this show, and the doors that we have to walk through in our lives, but also the doors that are slammed in our face in our lives, and how that affects us and shapes us and builds our character.
For sure.
And to me, you're the embodiment of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That is incredible.
I just think what you've gone through in your life, the ups and the downs, and the judgment and door, all of it. To me, and you have such a positive attitude.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this, is to bring that positivity.
I've got tingles.
Share. I know. Me too. See?
Really?
So it's one of the things. First, I want to say to you, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Just, I don't know, the drive, the fear of failure of the brand and letting people down that I've brought into the brand. We've got a very big family here. Obviously, you see my mum works here every day. She's the key inspiration behind it, I guess, because we're on an amazing journey at the moment, especially with the way the brand's growing, like yourself coming down here for a meeting, for an interview is just incredible for me, and I've followed you for many years and love everything about you, your style, everything.
Thank you.
The way you are. So for me, it's actually inspiring to be able to sit here with you and have this conversation.
Thank you. That means a lot to me, because I think we all go through things in our lives, right? And I've certainly been through my fair share, and as you have, and someone was telling me, I want to take a step back for a second. When you were growing up as a kid, what? Tell me about one of those memories that you have that has stayed with you, that has shaped you. It could be good, it could be not so good.
Yes.
I
think it was a key point in my life when I had a bad situation with my back. I went on holiday with friends and I actually got stabbed in the back from an altercation with a group of people. I jumped in to help a friend and someone come behind and stabbed me in my back. So
stabbed you?
Yes. It was a life-changing experience. But I take the positive from it, weirdly, that if that didn't happen, I could have gone down a different path to what I did, and I chose to go down another path. I had the brand at the time, and it was like I was just too busy at the time, going out and with friends, and I wasn't concentrating. I think that brought me back and made me concentrate on what really matters: friends, family, people around me, and then it set me on a different path where I was just concentrating on my brand. Something told me that you need to do this, right? And it was a wake-up call in a tough situation. But then I don't know, that sort of made me not give up on anything. I think because there was a part of me that could have given up. And
sure. Well, literally, you could have died.
Exactly.
You literally could have died.
Yes.
I'd heard that story, and I wanted you to tell it.
Thank you.
Because I believe that, again, I believe in God or the universe, or people coming into our lives, or moments happening, or and sometimes it's a tap on the shoulder, sometimes it's a slap in the face if you didn't get your attention, or you didn't wake up.
I think I was the character where I had to have something like that in order for me to really realise how sort of precious the things was around me I had. And if it wasn't that, I'd have just probably being a young child, growing up in a child's body, and then I ended up becoming a man from it. And I'm thankful for, like you said, a God, or energy, or whatever. I really believe in whatever it is. I believe in it. I believe in something. Exactly. So, and fortunately, I'm on this path, which I'm so happy about, and I'm loving everything I do every day. And yeah, I've got amazing people around me, and things just seem to spiral.
One of the things that I love about you is, one, your energy. Like, to me, you have a positivity, you have a joy. Like what you're even talking about you now. Like I feel it in me. Did you always have that? Was that always a part of you?
I think I've always had the character within me.
Right.
But that situation, one day sparked me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a crazy story. I had an out of body experience.
I get it.
In the hospital bed when I was there, and like my body come outside and said, "What are you doing? Like, look what's going on with you." And I just sat there on the end of the bed and looked at myself, and it's like, now go away and concentrate on the things that you care about. And my nan was one of the key people in my life. She passed away recently, but she was there, and I had a chat with myself and a few things, and it just changed my life. And I think I look at it as a positive, as crazy as that may sound. I feel like it happened for a reason, and I feel like since then my things around me are just getting better and better. Because if I can go through that, I can build any door. Right.
You walk through the door. You know, I think that, you know, and I think positivity attracts positivity. You know, and listen, for me, you know, I had to get sober for my life to shift.
Yes.
And for me to even believe that I deserved good things to happen to me. And, you know, I think for you, you know, you had a level of success before.
Yeah.
You know?
A little,
but enough to, you know, to feel something. And yet your path you pivoted.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had the wherewithal. And do you attest that to the relationship that you have with your mom?
Well, yeah, it's like crazy. My dad.
And your dad
is 20 years sober. He's been the whole, so I've been through all of that. So I've learned a lot from my dad from that situation, and then just having my mum around me every single day. It's good, some and bad.
Sure, trust me. I just did a post because of Father's Day, right? And you know, it was about as much loving, but also the work that you put into it, and forgiveness, and and you know, growing up, you know, looking at things not necessarily as the child anymore, but also as the adult. And was there a moment in your career?
Yes.
And actually, you've had a couple careers.
Yeah, I've had a few.
You know, where you remember the door being slammed in your face. You know, literally, physically or metaphorically. You know, that stayed with you. And
yeah, I mean, the whole process. I think from literally setting the brand up in my garage. That was the hardest thing I had to do.
Wait, I want to go back for a second. Please. Where, because that's a big, a big step.
Yes.
Where, because that's not your background.
No. So I left school.
Yep.
Wasn't very good at school.
Neither was I.
Not many. Well,
no, I wasn't.
No, two people there.
Yeah.
And then I tried to be a professional football player, soccer player, and got through the stages all the way up through the different levels, semi-professional, and then got to an age where I was like 22, and I was like, a lot of players at that age have already made it. So it's like decision time. Do I go for this career, or do I think of the next best thing that I thought I could do, which was wear clothes? It wasn't make them. Wasn't make them.
Right.
So everywhere I used to go, people used to, you know, I like what you're wearing, it was a little bit different. So I thought, well, I'm going to go into this. I didn't have a clue on things like patterns or designing or anything like that. I literally decided in my head that I was going for it, and that I went to Brick Lane thinking that's where they made clothes. And I was knocking on the doors. We don't make, this is the UK, there's not many factories around here. So but then I continued to sort of push it, and then one door leads to another, like we keep talking about. So then that was, for me, was the process of just having a go. Going to buy my first 3 meters was the most important time of my career.
One thing I'm always fascinated about when making a life change, right? A career change. Besides just you as a person, you've gone, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever fears I have, whatever faith I have, I'm doing it. How were your friends around you? Because you also was in a different space in your life.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, I certainly have had people that were supportive.
Well,
Actually, and even doing what I'm doing now, I had people literally say to me, "You're throwing your life away."
I had exactly the same. So everyone doubted it at the start.
Yeah.
Even your closest of friends, actually worse than people that I didn't know, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I think when I first done the brand, I was relying on my friends, or thinking that they was going to be the people or the guys that supported it, when really it wasn't. So I had to, again, there's another phase where it's finding who the customer is. I couldn't rely. Now I couldn't rely on my friends to just be the guys for the brand.
Right. Well, it's only going to go.
Exactly. So then it was a case of, right, how do we? That's not going to happen. What's the next stage? And then through, you know, coming up through the stages of the brand, I had a few. Well, I had one press bit that was not very nice, and I thought it was going to ruin my brand.
Okay, wait.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I got put in the worst 10 dressed guys in the UK. Next to Boris Johnson.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Well, you know, like, but it was you're on the top of some list.
Exactly. At least I'm on top 10 of something.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that could be a killer.
And it's from a very big magazine. Yeah. And then so then that happened, but it was at the very beginning of the career, and I was on a show, like a show that wasn't very popular in the fashion industry.
Sure, right.
But then I managed to sort of use that as a platform to grow some form of attention to the brand.
Right.
So for me it was a game plan why I done that. And then obviously, but that could have killed me as a young person coming up through the brand with a brand. That could have sort of jeopardised the buyers looking at it and thinking, well, they're buying to a guy that's. And fortunately, I've come out the other side, and I feel like there's sort of things like that happen for a reason.
Sure.
Like everything.
Everything does, right?
Bumping into you.
But literally, right? That to me, again, things meant to be. Exactly. I believe in that path. Do you want to talk to me about your daughter?
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Just because we're talking about things that change us, and doors opening and doors closing, right?
Of course,
it's
both.
And I can only imagine.
Yeah, River, my little angel she is. So a year and a half ago I had River, and the most special little girl ever. So all of this is for her now, so hopefully I can make it as the biggest and best brand I possibly can, so then she can take it over from me.
I like that.
Yeah, so she drives it as well as everyone. Missy, my mum, everyone around, even the people in the office there, they make it tick. So
I'm actually glad you brought up Missy.
Yes.
And just your daughter. You know, one of the things, obviously, both of us being in this industry and just in general, culturally, right? Yeah. You know, social media has
pros and cons.
Yes. You know, and I, you know, in doing kind of research and mowing, and we know of each other, but I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper, and I'm always fascinated by the public persona.
Yes.
Private persona.
Yes.
Is there a line? Is there so to me, looking at it, I love how you share your story and what's happening.
I'd like to say we share the good and the bad.
Yep, that's why.
And the real, and because I think, especially with brands, it's hard to relate to the top elite because they don't show the back end, because
it's all pretty. It's all pretty. It's buffed up.
Within the back end, it is blood, sweat and tears. It's hard sometimes, it's not easy. Relationships too, as well as, you know, as Missy works doing the women's wear now.
Yep.
So that's a new challenge.
Leave that, right?
Exactly. But together I believe that we're stronger.
Yeah.
We, you know, the whole Instagram thing, I agree too. You know, the problem with it is I'm on that thing 24/7. I don't stop. Even when I go on a family holiday now, it's sort of like, where can I get it away from me? Because I'm thinking about the next move and the next. But I suppose that's just part of. And the pros of it is that I can go on holiday and work from my phone.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but it is difficult because the prime times are in the morning, afternoon, and the night.
Yeah.
So that's the difficult part. But managing it and as a family.
Did you? Oh, I love that.
Yeah, managing it as a family.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I don't even know if I've ever heard anyone say it that way.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I love that. I really do. That's what, because I think, you know, so often it can be a very lonely process, you know, because if it's your page, so even if it's your brand, you're telling the story.
Yes.
You know, and yes, it may be there's a team around, or yes, there might be other people around, but it's really that many times it's that person's point of view.
Exactly.
And so to hear that that's incorporated, actually, I love that.
It is. Look,
are there some moments where you're like, hell no? That's
I mean,
here's the line. We're not crossing it.
Well, setting up women's obviously is it's been amazing. We've had such a great sell through with the women's wear. We've had, you know, meetings with Selfridges, all the top stores in the world, and they all love it. Now it's a case of managing us as a couple and as a family.
Right.
So driving in the morning together is difficult, then working and then going
There's
home.
no separate, right.
So it's about, I think, making sort of our own offices, our own teams.
Yeah.
You run with it that way, I run with it that way, and then that way it should work.
Yeah.
Right. Please God.
Right. When you're creating, is there a soundtrack that you play? Where do you get your inspiration? Because I say nice people, great. Well, I love that.
Nice places.
And the reason I say that is because I know for me, like you were saying, you can easily be on this 24/7. I've had to close myself off because you're getting so much influence coming at you, and I love the inspiration. I love being connected to my friends and being inspired, and again, the world can be a very lonely place, and through social media, you actually can find a community. You can find like-minded people. You can find support.
Exactly.
You know, when you're going through a process, and yet I also find I was losing myself or my spark sometimes, and so how do
I had that. At one point, I was so obsessed by trying to make everything look good on social media. Then I got a point to myself in my brand and myself where it was like, I just want to be relatable to the normal people. I
get it. Oh no, I get it. No, I totally get it.
I want to be able to relate this brand so they feel like they can do that. So when I was at school, I was not very good in, as we've been through, writing, spelling, whatever. So and then I couldn't really relate to many people that was at the top of their game in the fashion industry, but I want to have this brand where they can feel, or kids at school can go, if he done it, I can. And that for me is like where I get a lot of my inspiration from.
Do you know, we were talking earlier about, I feel that when you go through something in your life, right? And it could be good, it could be not so good, you know? But if you can get through it, survive it, and you thrive from it, I believe it's our responsibility as human beings to share that, and that's one of the reasons I love your story. Do you make that a part of kind of this brand, and also getting out to young guys, young girls that are coming up, and that
we do a lot of our videos, and I do a lot of inboxes with people. I get a very wide range of inboxes. So a dad is like, I lost all my inspiration for clothes since I was a kid. You give me that inspiration back, like really in depth, really amazing. And then I've had young kids, what would you recommend? So we've done a video about buying your first 3 meters of fabric to start. Rather than talk, you can talk about things, you can think of names, but when you really start, in my eyes, is when you buy your first bit of fabric and you could make that bit of fabric into something. Yeah. For me, that's when you've started, because then you can sell that piece on, or you can take a picture and sell it to a store. So for me, that's when you start a brand, not thinking about names. And for me, it's like I'm making something there, and that's when I've started. Everything else can come after.
See, I love. To me, it's it's whatever going through your experiences. You literally, to hear you say that you're giving someone tools, like tangible, touchable. No, do this. Go buy the fabric.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel it.
Yeah, that's how you start.
Yeah. I get it. I love that.
Yeah. Because I dwelled on it, and I speak it to a lot of people when I meet them, and they're like, I want to do my own brand. I'm like, have you bought your own fabric? Have you bought fabric?
Right.
No, I'm just thinking about the name. That comes after. Right. Forget that. Get a bit of fabric. Once you've got one hanging on a rail, you can take a picture of that, multiply it, sell it on, and then go and make it. Once you've got orders from it.
Tell me about one of the biggest mistakes you've made and one of the biggest wins you've had in this.
Biggest mistake I've had.
And it could be just like, oh, wow.
No, it's just, I think the biggest mistake I had at the beginning was I didn't have the right team around me.
That's huge.
Yeah, and that was my biggest mistake.
And I was, let me rephrase. It's not necessarily a mistake. It's going through something and you're like, oh, this isn't working.
Yeah. It's that energy.
It's the energy.
It's the energy.
Completely.
It's the energy.
Listen, if you don't have I was just saying to someone the other day, it's, to me, it's two energies exist, right? When you're with someone. Yeah. And if one is down here and one is here, they can't coexist. No. One either has to go down or the other one has to come up.
100%.
Or you separate.
Exactly. And that is what happened. So I had whatever before, and then now we've got a team with just the most amazing energy. Everyone in here wants to work for each other and help each other. And now we've got that, I feel like we can
just fly, right?
Wherever we want to go.
You fly.
Yes.
I only have a few more questions, so
I'm fine.
Good.
I'm enjoying it.
I am too.
I'm enjoying it. I'll be honest, I was dreading it before.
Were you?
Not I'm not good at this sort of.
Okay, so can I tell you something?
Even though I'm on the phone all the time.
I was gonna say.
When it comes down to this,
I'm gonna, from my perspective, my 2-cent opinion.
Yes.
You're really good at this.
Okay.
Because to me, I think someone could be polished and have talking points or whatever, and get through something or whatever. You have all that, but you speak from the heart. And to me, that drives you. That brings you. That is what I'm excited. Listen, I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
That's exactly. So what I was going to say is, what would you say to your daughter? Or to your 13-year-old self?
I'd say try everything until, before I'd done the brand and before I tried to play football, I still tried. I worked at a steel company, that worked at a kids fashion label. I done stockbroking, I worked in the foreign exchange, and all of these things, they just wasn't for me. Right. So for me, it's like, you have to try them in order to know that that's not what you want to do. Because I could have sat there and done foreign exchange, for example, and just been not inspired, sat there every day. But making clothes that people love, that inspires me every day. So I'd say, just try everything.
Cool.
And then you'll figure out from there.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, I talked about her, is from Ava DuVernay, and someone, she shifted in her career, and older too, in her 30s. And she was a publicist, and she became a film director, and she's achieved an incredible amount of success. And and she was a black woman, and so besides being a woman, she was a black woman, and she was wanting to do this. And she talks about how coming up, all these doors were closed to her, closed, and it just got to a certain point. She finally had this realization. She goes, I got tired. Of knocking on all these doors, hoping, waiting, wishing that they would open. I decided I'd build my own door.
Exactly.
And to me, that's what you've done.
Thank you.
And I find you so incredibly inspiring and in such a real way that you're not just talking about it, you're actually doing it. And so I wanted to ask you, yes, we know your brand is on the door and your name is on the door, but what title would you put on your door that you've built?
I think I'd put an inspiration to younger guys that wasn't great at school, or something like that, or someone who can believe in themselves. That wasn't the cards wasn't laid out that way. That it should have been.
If you can do it,
if I can do it, you can.
Exactly.
And I think that's, for me, that is the key behind this brand. We want everyone to feel like it's relatable, that they could knock on the door, come through. Like it does feel like that as a brand. Everyone I speak to, they feel warm and welcome to the brand, and that's what I want. It's not we're better than anyone. We're on the same level.
Yeah, which again, it means something to me. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Dan.
Oh my God,
I appreciate it.
So
Thank you. I appreciate you coming and thinking of me. Actually, when you could have any, and you're gonna have all the best in the game.
I have to tell you, it gets me emotional because I think, like you were saying, you get messaged all the time. I get messaged all the time, and it's part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is I remember what it was like when I was growing up and how alone I felt and how I didn't see anybody that was a positive role model or that was still showing up every day and picking themselves up, and maybe they fall down again and they pick themselves up. What was that? You fall down 9 times but get up 10.
Exactly that.
So so in doing this, and when your name popped in, I was like, you embody that spirit to me. So and you're such a positive. Yeah, I know there's rough. Trust me, I know there's rough days. I know there's rough days for sure. But to me, and I knew some of your story, but to hear more of it, it just.
Oh, thank you.
I think like attracts like.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. And those doors are open.
Yeah, always.
The doors are open.
Always come in whenever you want. More than welcome to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.